I am no one or Spodapeg on Discord, and I am the game master of a Pokerole campaign called Shattered Earth. Now, I've already made a video explaining how the character sheet works, but I've changed the character sheet look and basic feel of it slightly, not much, but because this video is probably going to go on YouTube, I'm gonna do everything again, but I'll do it a bit faster for the benefit of people who've already seen the other one. Okay. So first of all, you will be playing as a trainer in my campaign, and what you do is, first of all, you'll be getting a character sheet that looks exactly like this. It's literally a clone of this spreadsheet. Okay. For people who are already part of a Pokerole campaign, I mean, sorry, for people who are part of a different Pokerole campaign but want to use my mechanics and my spreadsheet, um, I'll figure out a way for you to be able to get it. Okay, I can share it with you, but the thing is, when I share it with you, I'd be able to see it and all of that. And yeah, that's too much for me to keep an eye on. I get panicked when I get overwhelmed with documents and that kind of stuff. So but yeah, I'll find a way to get it to you. So let's just get started here. Okay. So first of all, you're a trainer. So let me just duplicate this so that I can delete it later and I can still keep this as my uh, standard. Okay. So first of all, your trainer. So you have a picture of your trainer. So you can draw it yourself. You can get someone else to do it for you. You can just find some random image online that you think is cool and just put it in there. So you can put in pictures by saying insert image in cell, browse. Okay, let's just see there. Okay, fine. There. There's just a random image I found, and there it popped up there. So you can do that exactly, and you can put in a picture of your trainer. Now, um, let's say name. So mine is Spoda. My starter is. I mean my rank. Okay, my rank is a starter. Um, and the player is Spoda. Money, you'll start off with $1,500. That's the beginning amount. Um, and that'll obviously change really fast. So gender, I am male. Willpower. Willpower, we'll get back to that one just now. All right. So next up is um the Pokédex. So your Pokédex, for now, at the beginning, you haven't seen any Pokemon, you haven't caught any, so it's 0 out of 0. But that will change, and it's up to you whether you want to keep track of it or not. You can choose to not keep track of it. I just put it there because I just like information. Now, initiative. Initiative is something that will update on its own, so I'll get to it once I start doing all the stats. And then evasion is something else that um wait, let me just make sure that it works right. So it is initiative is value. It's equal to alert plus dexterity, and evasion is equal to alert plus sorry, evasion plus dexterity. Okay, so then your age. So let's just say I'm 20 years old. So let me just put down 20. Now pain. Pain is something that's dependent on your HP. So we'll get to that in a moment. Now your goal profession. So your goal profession depends on um yeah, sorry about that. Ignore that. Your goal profession. It's basically just what you want to do in life. So let's say my character wants to be a doctor. So that's done there. Now, because I'm a starter rank trainer, I'll explain what you get with each rank at first, like just in a moment. But because I'm a starter rank, all of my stats will start at 1. So the value is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And the base HP for a human is 4. Okay, so let me just fix this. The total HP is equal to base HP plus base vitality. Okay, so your starting HP will be 5. Okay, and this is something you don't actually have to worry about. So let me just paste over that. Okay, then um, next off, your skills. At starter rank, you get wait just a sec. Um, let me just find that. At starter rank, you have 5 skill points to distribute. Just a sec. Let me. I'll come back in a moment. Yep. Okay. There. So now that you with the starter rank, um, you have a skill level limit of 1, and you have 5 skill points to distribute. Now all of your social attributes, they're all going to start off at 1. That's the base for a human. Now skills. 5 points to distribute means that I can level up any 5 skills. Okay, so let's say stealth, law, medicine, perform, and allure. Okay. Now now you might want to actually put down 2 into 1, but the problem with that is that at a starter rank, your skill level limit is 1. You can't level any higher than that, right? The same for your attributes and your social attributes. You can't go any higher than 1. But in terms of your ranks, when you're a starter, this is your these are the requirements, benefits, everything that you need to know about the starter rank. Okay, so you need to get your trainer's license, you need to get your starter Pokemon. Now starter Pokemon, let's assume I got it, and we'll do the starter Pokemon's page in a moment. Now beginner. Now let's beginner. It says for requirements, you need to go through 1 training session. So let's assume I did. Okay, so 1 training session. So training session. Let's say that Brawl went up by 1 in terms of the skill experience, and so did the stat experience, the skill exp. Sorry, let me just fix this. There, and so did tough. Okay, so I've been through the 1 session of training. I'll explain how training works in a moment. So let's assume I already caught my first Pokemon, and win your first official battle against a trainer. Let's assume I did. Okay. Now that means I can now rank up to a beginner rank. So that means I get 2 more points to distribute on attributes, which means I can level up any 2 attributes. Okay. So let's say I level up strength and I level up insight. Okay. Then I can do the same for social attributes. So let's say I level up cool, I level up beauty. Then 4 more skill points to distribute. So I can distribute 4 skills over here any way I like. But now my limit is 2, the highest you can go. So I'm gonna put 1 into brawl. I'm gonna give myself a throw and another. So now I just have 1 more. So let me put that into. Wait. Sorry. 1, 2. And let me put that into medicine. There. So now I have used up my 4 skill points. Okay. And yes. So now how it works is when you go through a training exercise, you will gain some experience points, but these experience points are unique to each attribute, social attribute, and stat. I'll explain how later on, but just know that this is where you keep track of those. Okay. Now, in terms of moves, you can ignore this for the most part because it's very unlikely that you will ever get, get involved in a battle because with Pokerole mechanics, actually getting involved in a battle, in any official battle, is an immediate disqualification. Now your current party. Your current party, so let's say my starter Pokemon was, let's go with a Pidove, right? Then, and the first Pokemon I caught was, uh, Squovet. Okay? So status, let's say they're healthy. It's also healthy. I'll come back to this when I create the Pokemon character sheet. So now let me duplicate this so that I can delete it later and still keep my template, empty. Now the Pokemon. So now this is Pidove. So I'm gonna put it. So if I want to, I can put in a picture of Pidove here and nickname. So let's say I want to name my Pidove Scratch. That's my Pidove's nickname, and it's a starter rank. Um, Starter rank. So in terms of Pokemon, wild Pokemon, when you encounter them and all of that, your game master will be telling you all of these. Now it's Dex numbers. So let's go to the core book. Wait, no, there, and I'm going to search up Pidove. There you go. Its Dex number is 519. It is male. Its ability. Let's say that my game master told me that the ability was Big Pecs. Okay. Now Mega ability. This Pidove won't Mega evolve, so it's not actually applicable to this. But if you do ever get a Pokemon that does Mega evolve, then you would put a Mega ability in here. It's held items. So let's say so while foraging, I found a Pecha Berry, so I decided to give it the Pecha Berry. So now whenever it gets poisoned, it'll eat the Pecha Berry and heal itself. Now nature. So now nature is in the canon games. Nature, it actually does affect your Pokemon stats. It raises one stat by 10% and decreases another stat by 10%. Sometimes it increases and decreases the same stat. But in Pokerole, your nature is only used for contests and um, it's only used for contests and role playing. Now the problem with contests is that because we'll be playing through Discord, which is a play-by-post form of playing, which is really difficult to incorporate something like a contest because in Pokerole 2.0, contests are played with an actual game board and cards. It's literally like a board game. So I won't be doing contests in my campaign, but if you are playing, face to face, by all means. Um, Now nature. So let's say my GM told me that the Pidove's nature was calm, and it's willpower. So willpower. Let me get back to the trainer. So your willpower, your base willpower, is going to be equal to your insight plus 2. Okay. Now remember my um the when I started off, my insight was 1. So that means I would have 3 willpower. Willpower is something that that your game master will award to you at literally any point in time they like. So and you usually get it by doing some very good role play. So willpower. So we haven't actually put in any of the stats yet. So let's not worry about willpower. Okay, I'll explain how to use willpower just now. Now it is a flying type. It is a normal type. And its height. So it is 1 foot tall and it weighs 1 foot tall and it weighs 4 pounds. Now, in terms of happiness, your Pokemon's happiness and loyalty are dependent on a whole multitude of things. So happiness. Okay, so happiness and loyalty. So now, when you meet a Pokemon in the wild and you catch it, the base happiness and loyalty for it is 2. Like they both are equal to 2. Now, if the battle was unfair, so if you ganged up on it or something like that, happiness will automatically be set to 0. Okay, because it's not fair and the Pokemon won't really love you for it. And it'll be set to 1 if it was unwilling to come with you. So if you actually had to battle it to catch it. Okay. Um, Then, depending on how much pain you inflicted, you'll decrease loyalty. So pain is something that um, everything will feel, and it's dependent on how much how much HP you have relative to what you can have. So your total HP. So in this case, let's say if I have 5 HP, until I go below half of my full HP, half or below, I won't be feeling any pain. But the moment it touches the halfway point, that's when I start feeling 1 point of pain. And when you feel 1 point of pain, you subtract one success from all your rolls. And I'll explain rolls later, just now. Then when you have only 1 HP left, then you start feeling 2 points of pain. So depending on how much pain you inflicted on the wild Pokemon, you have to subtract that much from its loyalty. So because Pidove was my starter Pokemon, its happiness and loyalty are both 2. Its weaknesses. It's a flying type, so electric, rock, and ice. And normal types are weak to fighting, but flying types resist it, so it's not weak to fighting. There. Experience. So now experience is it was actually done away with the introduction of the 2.0 version of the core book, but I decided to keep it anyway. So experience won't be used to level up your Pokemon in the same way that you'd think, but experience is more used as a track as in order to keep track of when your Pokemon will evolve. So so now if you can remember correctly, in order to rank up from starter to beginner, you have to have won a battle with another trainer. So, say I battled another trainer with my Pidove, and my GM awarded me 2 experience points from it. Okay, then that's how much experience I have. So now let's look at the stats. So when you look at a Pokemon's entry in the core book's Pokedex, you'll see that it has a certain number of black circles filled and a certain number of white circles not filled. So black circles is its base. So when you find like an average unchanged Pokemon, it will be equal to the number of black spots. And because my Pokemon is very young, never battled before, never done anything before, it will have 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. Just as is reflected here. Now it can actually gain the other two through training, which I'll explain just now. Okay. Um, so now let's assume that I did train my Pidove, and the the training session, as I was training as a trainer, I improved my brawl and tough. My Pidove will also have improved her like his brawl and tough by the same amount. Okay, I'll explain how training works in a moment. So 1 and 1. Now, because I gained 1 in Brawl for Pidove, that allows me to level up. Okay, I'll explain how you level up or rank up skills or level up skills or how whatever. I'll explain it when I get to training. Okay, then social attributes. All Pokemon start off with 0 in their values. Okay, your abilities effect. I'll come to that in a moment. And the same with the mega ability effect isn't relevant to Pidove. Now your Gmax factor. Your Gmax factor is different in the sense that um, only some Pokemon have a Gmax factor. So normally when you Gigantamax Pokemon, it changes its form and it gets a different Gigantamax move and stuff, and that will be the case here. And if a Pokemon does end up with the Gigantamax factor, I will work with you, even if it's something that in the normal Pokemon games it doesn't actually get a Gigantamax form. I will work with you in a way. We'll make a Gigantamax move for it and all of that. Okay. So with the Gmax factor, uh, it's to say Pidove doesn't actually have the Gmax factor, so this won't be checked, and it's not Mega Evolved at the moment, so this won't be checked either. Okay. Now the reason why I actually have 4111 and all of this written down here is to show you something. So let's say that if Pidove was able to Mega Evolve, its strength is 4 higher than its normal strength when it's Mega Evolved. So when I check Mega Evolved, these stats actually increase by whatever is there. Okay. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to. There's a slight problem with the formulas. So I'm gonna have to fix it. Um, just a sec. There. Um, there. So now if I check this, then all the stats increase because they added the modifier on. Now, Z move. So say if instead of a Pechaberry, actually let me do my moves first and then I can explain Z moves. So, um, because it's a starter rank, it can only learn moves from the white Pokeball zone. So it knows Gust and it knows Leer. Okay. So now let me go to the page for Gust. So I think it's about. Let me go back. So it's a flying type move. So it's around page 373. There, Gust. So for Gust, the accuracy is dexterity plus channel. So it's a flying type move. It's equal to dexterity plus channel. And it does damage equal to your special plus 2. And then for Leer, normal type move, let's go to about page 400 or so and work from there. So it's tough plus intimidate, so it's equal to tough plus intimidate. There. Now the problem with this is that Pidove doesn't actually have any stats in these. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to let you start off with 1 in all of the social stats for your Pokemon as well. Okay, I don't think that's a rule in. I think they're actually supposed to start with 0 in the normal with the normal rules, but that would mean that they wouldn't be able to use some of the moves that they can at a young age. So I'm gonna let you set all of the social attributes to 1. Now let's say Pidove has a Flyinium Z. So now what Flyinium Z? So now Flyinium Z will turn Gust into Supersonic Sky Strike, right? It's a flying type Z move, and its accuracy. So now the accuracy of a Z move is the same as the accuracy of its base move, and the damage is equal to the same thing as its base move. So it's going to be equal to special plus 2 plus. It's going to be equal. You're going to have to add your happiness on and your loyalty. Which means that this is going to be what the base damage is. Actually, it's going to be slightly more because you have another dice for same type attack bonus. So there. The base damage roll for Supersonic Sky Strike would be 8d6 if it was holding a Flying EMZ. But it's not holding any Z move at the moment, so nothing. It's not holding any Z crystal at the moment. So now, let's say I already created the character sheet for my for my second Pokemon. Okay, for the Squirvet. Now, let's move on to the more technical terms in terms of battling. Okay, and you know, like actual combat and those kind of stuff. So ranks. So when you rank, it's not there are different ranks, and the rank is a representative of your trainer's actual level. Okay, so the first rank is a starter rank, so that those are like your basic trainers. They don't. Let me go up here to starter. Okay, so it's represented by plain white Pokeball. You're a basic trainer. You literally just started out, and these are the requirements for it, and these are the benefits you get from it. Then your beginner rank is represented by standard Pokeball, and you you're starting to learn. You're slowly starting to learn, and these is what you need to do to get your beginner rank. And these are the benefits you get with your beginner rank. Amateur, you you're still far from being like a prodigy, but you're getting there. You're starting to pick more techniques up, and you are slowly getting more and more skills. All right. Now then after that you have your ace trainer. So this is represented by an ultra ball, and then pro, which is represented by cherish ball, then elite, which is represented by master ball, and then champion, which is represented by GS ball. Now the sorry about that. Now there is a slight difference between um, how the ranks work with my homebrewn rules, and how they work with the actual base core book rules. So you can kind of take your pick, and you can change the requirements and all of that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter to me. Okay. Then next up is dice pools. So now in a Pokerole campaign, the only type of dice you'll ever see is d6. Mine, you will see a couple of others, but not that many. So you'll only ever use a six-sided dice. You won't ever use any other type. Okay. So for social interactions and other kinds of checks, I'll tell you what to roll. But most of the time, I will actually be rolling for my campaign because it's play by post. It's not actually speaking. But if you're playing face to face, then yeah, you can roll whatever. Okay. You also roll. Um, Now, what a success is defined by is if you score. So if you roll a dice. So say I roll one dice and I rolled a four. That is known as a success. So a success is when you roll a four, a five, or a six, and that means that that dice has one success. Now, if you roll a one, two, or three, that means it wasn't a successful roll. So now if you roll three dice and you get a five, a three, and a four, that means you got two successes and one failure. So now, so in the campaign, um, when you're interacting with NPCs and that kind of stuff, you will need a certain number of successes in order to be able to do something. Um, and even in a battle. So for example, for your damage rolls, now in Pedav's case, the damage roll for Gust was 4d6, which means that um, you have to roll four dice. Actually, first you have to subtract your opponent's insight from it because insight is Pokerole's equivalent of special defense. And then, so say the opponent's insight is 2. That means that you're left with 2 dice. So now what you're going to have to do is you're going to roll those 2 dice, and assuming that your move hits. So first of all, you have to roll that 1 dice, and if that 1 dice was successful, then you roll your 2 dice after subtracting the insight from the damage roll, the opponent's insight. Now, if you roll a 6 and a 2 from that means you only do 1 damage because it was 1 success. But for example, if it was against a grass type Pokemon, then you add a success to your roll. You don't add another roll, you add a success to it. So instead of doing 1 damage, you do 2 damage because it was a super effective move. Okay, so that's how dice pools work. Now for natures and role playing. So I already explained it. The 25 natures, your GM should tell you what nature your Pokemon have, and you control your Pokemon. So in a face-to-face kind of setting, the GM could also control your Pokemon. But with a play by post, it's much easier for the player to control their own Pokemon. And if they portray the Pokemon's personality well, then um, then the GM can actually reward you. So good role playing will award you more willpower. Now, will is something that it's a very useful mechanic in Pokerole. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Um, so will points is page 26. So it's a very useful mechanic in a battle. So Um, will points. Now, now at the beginning of each round, you can tell, or whenever you want to use an action, you can say, um, you can use your willpower for different kinds of things. So you can spend a will point to ignore a point of pain. You can use a will point to re-roll an unsuccessful roll from all your rolls in a round. Okay, or for example, if you're persuading someone, you can say, okay, I want to use one willpower to re-roll an unsuccessful roll in this interaction. Okay, now I also have a couple of other homebrewn rules for willpower, and if you think of any more, you can just run it by me. And the same with your GM. So one that I thought of is if your Pokemon faints, you can use a number of willpower points equal to, like your Pokemon will use them, not you, and you, I guess, equal to how much ever you need to get it back to 1 HP. So for example, if your Pokemon had 2 HP left and it took 5 damage, it technically is on negative 3 HP. So now you can use 4 will points to get your Pokemon back to 1 HP. But but there is a downside to it. If you or your Pokemon runs out of willpower, you will get knocked out and you'll wake up 24 hours later, which means that you have to use your willpower very sparingly. It's very valuable, and you should always be careful about it. Don't just use it whenever you like. Now, happiness and loyalty. I did explain how happiness and loyalty works. Okay, so now on to battling. So first of all, type effectiveness. It's Pokerole. They don't actually change the type effectiveness whatsoever, so it's the same. But you're gonna have to make a new type chart if you want to if you want to have a new type in your campaign. Um, for example, because I'm also going to be including Pokemon from Pokemon Uranium in my campaign. I was thinking about having a nuclear type in the campaign, but I decided against it because the nuclear type it's not the kind of energy that Shattered Earth is supposed to be. So there will be Pokemon from Uranium, but not nuclear types. The Shattered Earth will only have the standard 18 types. Now, the first thing you do in any battle is you perform your initiative check. Okay, so now if you go back to your character sheet, your initiative is going to be equal to your dexterity plus your alert score. Now what that gives you is an initiative score. Now evasion score is similar, it's dexterity plus your evasion score, or your evasion value. Now what that gives you is an initiative score. And in a battle, what you do is you at the beginning of each round in a battle, you roll 1d6 and you add that to your initiative score. Now that will tell you in what order the Pokemon will move. So for example, it's a battle with my Pidove and my Squirvet against two wild Caterpie. So say one Caterpie has an initiative score of 2, one has an initiative score of 1, Squirvet has an initiative score of 1, and so does um, Pidove. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to roll a d6 for each of all your GMO, for each of the Pokemon on the field, and then you're gonna rank up those scores. So say once you added the scores, one Caterpie ended up with 5, one ended up with 6, Pidove ended up with 5, and Squirvet ended up with 3. That means that the Caterpie that ended up with 6 goes first, then the Pidove will go second because Pidove in because because how the ranking of how priority works in terms of initiative. So if two Pokemon's initiative score is the same, the Pokemon with the higher dexterity will go first. But if the dexterity score is the same, the Pokemon with the highest with the higher speed in terms of the actual core series game stats will go first. And if those are equal to, then you just roll a d2, and then the corresponding one will go first. Okay. Now, if you want to use a priority move, that means you go even if you're at the bottom of the priority ladder, you will get to move first. And if two Pokemon use priority in a battle, the faster one will move first, obviously. Okay. Now the next thing you do is, so you select the move, and first of all you have to check for its accuracy. Okay, so if you go here, Gust has an accuracy of 1d6. So now that means that um, you roll a d6, and if the d6 is successful, that means Gust hits. If it's not successful, it means it doesn't hit. Okay. Now, if the move hits, then you can roll for damage. Now, a critical hit is takes place when you score 3 more successes than necessary for for the move to hit. Okay, so if this is the first if this is the first round turn in a round, and I'll explain how you can get multiple turns in the same round just now. But if this is the first turn in a round, you only need 1 success to hit, and you need 4 successes for a critical hit. Okay, and for example, if Bidav's accuracy roll was actually 5d6 and I scored 4 successes, now it's a critical hit, which means that I get to add 2d6 to the damage roll. Okay, now then after that um, you also can take into account that some moves actually have a higher critical hit ratio, which means that there's a higher chance that there'll be a critical hit, in which case you only need 2 more successes than instead of 3. Okay, and all the moves that have lowered accuracy and high critical hits, they can all be seen in the core book. Okay, but there's like a whole list of moves here in the core book. Now, how I'll be working with damage calculation is, so let me just go down to damage calculation. So if a move hits, I mean if a move hits, roll for damage. Okay. Now, even if your Pokemon doesn't do, if you get 0 successes, your Pokemon will always do 1 hit, as long as 1 damage, as long as it has hit. Okay. Now, most damage rolls is your strength or your special plus how many of a power, well, whatever power your move is supposed to do, have. Okay. Now, if the move you're using, if your Pokemon gets stabbed from it, or same type attack bonus, you add an extra roll. If your Pokemon's doing super effective damage, you don't even add a roll. You add 1 damage flat. So even if you fail all your rolls, your Pokemon will always do 2 damage because of that 1 damage your Pokemon will always do, and another damage for super effectiveness. If it's 4 times effective, you add 2 flat damage. So that means the lowest amount of damage you can do is 3, as long as your move hits. Okay, and it's corresponding for these, but even if it's a 0.25 times effectiveness of a move, you won't subtract 2 from that 1 flat damage. You will always do at least 1 damage, even if it's really not that effective. Now for a physical move, you must subtract the opponent's vitality from your dice pool. So say for Pidav here, it's 4d6. So let's say the opponent's and let's say this was a physical move. So now the opponent's vitality is 2. So you subtract 2d6 from it, and say it's not after you subtract 2d6, then you roll whatever. Now sometimes you might find yourself fighting something that has a monstrous amount of defense. Now like for example, earlier today we just finished a battle against the Steelix, and Steelix, it's really high vitality. So now, say that you use 4d6 against Steelix's monstrous 10 vitality. You're not going to do any damage except for that 1 damage that you'll always do, because it's 4d6 minus 10d6. But if you hit critically, you'll do that 1 base damage plus your plus 2d6 for your critical hit. All right. It's a bit difficult to explain. It's a bit difficult to get, but think about it slowly, and you can actually always message me on Discord. I am in the Pokerole Discord server, and I have DMs on. Okay, and I'll put down my Discord, my tag in Discord. All right, I will give you my tag in Discord so that you can message me if you have any questions. Now, HH in this case is helping hand. Helping hand will add 2 rolls, so it works the same as a critical hit. Okay. Now switching. So you can switch between rounds without any consequence whatsoever, or you can switch during a round, but that takes up an action. Okay. And I'll explain what actions are now. So in one round, you can actually use more than one move. Okay. But each consecutive move requires more successes. So say use one move. So the first move you use only needs 1 success, but the second move you use needs 2. The third move you use needs 3. The fourth move you use needs 4. Okay, and the fifth action you take needs 5. So you can't. Now I'm saying that because you can't actually use the same move more than once in a round. You have to use different moves, and this includes when your moves are boosted by Z moves and max moves. Okay, you can't. So for example, if you have flamethrower, and when it's a max move, it turns into max flare. You can't use max flare and then flamethrower. Max flare is flamethrower basically, and so you can use Z moves and multiple actions, but you can't use one Z move and then another Z move because obviously the Z moves depend on your held item, and you can't use multiple max moves in a round. You can only use one. So you can say swords dance, then max quake, then flamethrower. You can say that. Okay. Now, as the number of successes increases, so does the critical threshold. So, for example, if it's the fourth move, so you need 4 successes to hit, then you also need 7 successes for the move to be a critical hit. So, now there is a downside to it. If you score 3 fewer successes than what is needed in order to hit, then you will take something called critical damage. So it's known as a critical failure there. Okay, but something bad will happen at your storyteller's discretion. So I will tell you what happens here. I can say you took this much damage, or you hurt this person, or something. I will tell you what happens. Okay. So all of that is pretty much exactly the same as how it works in Pokerole, in like the general Pokerole book. Now, sorry, I just need to rehydrate. My throat is getting really, really, really jittery. So evade. So if you want to evade, it takes up an action, and so what you have to do to evade is roll your dexterity plus evasion. Okay, and actually have your evasion score here. So you just need to roll that number of dice. And if you get as many successes as the opponent did in their accuracy check, you succeed. If you get fewer, you'll take the hit, but you subtract the number of successes you got from their accuracy. So for example, if it's both of your first move in the round, and you decide to evade while he decides to use a move, and say your evasion, you roll 3d6 for evasion and he rolls 4d6 for accuracy. So say you only roll 2 successes while he rolls 3, or while he rolls 4. Now, normally, because he rolled 4 successes, this would be a critical hit. But because you did partially evade the move, you subtract 4 successes, the 2 successes from the 4 successes, so it's only effectively 2 successes. So while the move did hit, it's no longer a critical hit. Now, if it's a later turn in the battle, so say it's the fourth move, and he only rolled 4 successes, and you rolled 2 successes for evasion, that means that you do actually manage to subtract 2 successes from his, and that means your evasion itself will be successful too. Alright? Now, for a clash, I have the clash stats over here. Okay, so clash is something that you do when you want to basically stop the opponent from using a certain move. So for example, if a move is going to really hurt one of your allies, you can choose to clash with the opponent. So you roll your strength Blow special plus clash. So now you have to. This has to be the way you clash has to be reasonable. So you can't say that you're just gonna clash. Now, if the opponent is gonna use Mega Punch on one of allies or something, and you want to clash, say you're gonna use your physical move, or you're gonna use your body or your body itself just to like get in between and try to stop the opponent. Or if the opponent's gonna shoot an energy blast, you're gonna shoot an energy blast as well in the exact same uh, in the exact same direction so that you can kind of just cancel out. Now, if your successes equals the opponent's successes, you both take one damage. If your successes is greater, the opponent takes you don't take any damage, and the opponent takes the damage equal to your successes minus theirs. If your successes are fewer than the opponent's, you don't take any damage, but you do take successes away from their roll, and and they hit whoever they were supposed to anyway, unless it's like it's not the first move, and they didn't get enough successes and stuff. So you can actually cause them to still miss anyway. And weaknesses and resistances are taken into consideration when you clash. So say someone uses Leaf Blade on a Quagsire, on say on any Pokemon, and a Quagsire tries to clash. Quagsire will take that one damage you get from clashing, if the clash was successful, and you also take another two because it's because it's really effective. Like it's super effective. Okay. Now next up, between each round, your trainer can they can perform actions without worrying about without worrying about anything. But between rounds, if you want to do it during a round, it actually takes up an action and it might not work. So you can try and heal your Pokemon. So if you're using anything other than a full restore or a berry with a set amount of healing, you have to roll clever plus medicine. Your clever as social attribute plus your medicine skill, and you heal the Pokemon by how much ever you roll that. Okay, and it actually uses up your potions and berries. So now if I go to a potion here, trying to find this. There. So potion has 2 units of healing in it. So that means that you can heal a total of 2 HP damage with one potion. So say the first time you use your potion, you only heal 1. That means there's still 1 unit of healing left. You did use the whole potion bottle. So the next time you try to heal, you can heal that much again. Okay. But how much you heal by is dependent on your clever plus your medicine stat. So say I roll clever plus medicine, which in this case is clever plus medicine. Oh wait, the trainer does this. It's a trainer's roll, not a Pokemon's roll. Pokemon can't administer healing. So clever plus healing. Clever plus medicine. So medicine is 2, clever is 1. So it's a 3d6. So say I roll 2, that means I heal the Pokemon by 2 HP. Okay. Now next up is entering the fray. Entering the fray is something that you can do in normal Pokerole, but it's unlikely it'll ever happen in my campaign. Okay, I'm working basically with anime logic. You don't ever get involved in the Pokemon battle. Okay, now finding cover. If you can make your Pokemon try and find cover, you roll your insight plus alert scores, and depending on what you find, depending on how many successes you get, the GM will tell you what you find. If the object you find covers a quarter of your body, your vitality insight are boosted by 1, and you can still attack. If it's covered by half of your body, if it covers half of your body, you can use you can still use your attacks, and your vitality and insight are boosted by 2. If it covers your whole body, the cover needs to be destroyed before damage can be done. This is exactly how it works in normal Pokerole. Okay, but you won't be able to attack because nothing. You can't see the opponent because you're completely covered by something. Now, environmental factors. So I've already done some test battles with my my future campaign group. Sorry about that. I've already done some test battles, and in those, I didn't actually explain to the players that they can use the environmental factors, but you can. Okay, so before each battle, I will actually describe the battlefield properly, and you can tell the GM that you're gonna try and hit the ground or something to make the dust rise up, so that the opponent's visibility is affected, and I'll tell you what to roll, or I'll roll for it. Okay, so you can actually use those kind of creative rolls, because that's something that you can do with this kind of gameplay. You can choose to run away, so you and your opponent both roll Dex plus Athletic, your Dexterity plus Athletic, and if your successes are greater than your opponent's, if it can't be equal or less. If it's equal or less, you just lose you just lose an action. Um, but if it's greater, you do run away. In official battles, you don't actually need to. You can just concede. A conditional move. So you can make one action a conditional action, which means that you say, if the opponent does this, then I'm going to do this. Otherwise, I do this. Right? It's not that hard to do. It's really, really normal. Now, lethal damage. Lethal damage is something that's present in Pokerole. A lot of moves, like the more powerful moves, can do lethal damage, which means that when you take lethal damage, there is a chance that you might die. I am not a huge fan of lethal damage. I set most of everything by store of by the anime, and that's kind of what I follow religiously. And I'm not a huge fan of lethal damage in general, so I will be ignoring it altogether. I won't be referencing it at whatsoever. But you can do so if you'd like to in your campaign. Okay, I already explained pain. Uh, Holding back. So there's two ways you can hold back in normal Pokerole. You can choose to inflict only half of the damage instead of full, and you can choose to withhold all the lethal damage you do. You can do normal damage instead of lethal damage. But because I'm not making use of lethal damage at all, it doesn't matter for me. Okay, holding action. So you can say, so for example, if your initiative score, like in a battle, if your initiative score is higher than another Pokemon, you can say, I'm gonna wait until this Pokemon moves, and then I'm gonna move. Okay, because you have the option to do that. A slower Pokemon can't choose to move faster, but a faster Pokemon can choose to move slower. Now, stat boosting. Each stat can only be increased and decreased once. You can't overboost or over nerf at all. It's set in stone. Okay. Now healing. It's pretty much exactly what the core book says. So wow, what the hell? Healing. So it's a basic heal. There. So now there are different types of healing, and these are all healing moves. So most healing moves require you to use some will, like willpower, as in the will score. So you have to use it very carefully and very sparingly. But all basic heal moves heal 3 damage. All complete heal moves heal up to 5 damage. Okay, and fixed heal and fixed complete heal, some moves, they just heal a certain amount flat and that's it. Okay, some basic heal moves actually become complete heal moves under some circumstances, like Synthesis and Morning Sun actually become complete heal moves during sunlight, or harsh sunlight. Okay. Now potions, berries, and moves can only heal up to 3 HP every hour unless it's a complete heal or high heal move. Now shield moves. So you can use a shield move to reduce damage to 0. What you do is you use your shield move, and depending on how many successes you get, you can decrease the opponent's damage to 0. But the more you use it, the more times in a row you use it, the more accuracy penalties you take. So, say you use it the first time, you don't take any accuracy penalty. But the second time you use it, you subtract 2 accuracy successes, not even rolls. You subtract successes. Then the next time you subtract another 2, so you subtract 4. Then the next time you subtract 6. So it really does punish you if you try to use it too much. So shield moves as in protect or detect or wide guard or something like that. Now weather. These are the types of weather conditions they can be. During sunlight, normal harsh sunlight, or like normal sunlight, like not a drought, like basically if something is a sunny day or drought, fire type moves get 1 extra damage die. water type moves get one no, not damage die. You actually do one more damage flat. Water types do one less damage flat, and nothing can be frozen. In harsh sunlight, uh, fire type moves, it's the same for fire type moves, but now water types can't use any moves at all. Like water type moves can't be used at all. It's like during desolate land, the primal Groudon's ability. Okay, and you add any two dice roll to burn chance rolls. So I'll come to chance rolls a bit later on. And nothing can be frozen. Uh, and all these other weather phenomena like fail to activate. Now, during rain, it's kind of the opposite of sunlight and complete heal moves under the sun. So synthesis and morning sun, instead of becoming complete heal moves, they actually only heal once. So they don't even heal three like they're normally supposed to. Okay, and burns can also heal a bit easier because you reduce the number of successes needed to heal the burn by 3. In Typhoon, it's like Kyogre's, Primal Kyogre's ability. So water type moves get one extra die, fire type moves can't be used, complete heal moves under sun don't recover any health, all these other weather phenomena fail to activate, and the same thing for the burn. Now Sandstorm deal 1 damage to all non-rock, ground, and steel types. You increase the inside of rock types by 1, so you increase the modifier by 1, and uh, and complete heal moves under sun only restore 1. Now strong winds is something that it's not that common. I think you'll only ever see it if you go up against a Rayquaza, which you probably won't in my campaign, but maybe in someone else's campaign you could. Okay, and these are all the effects from it. Okay, in terms of weather, I think I more or less copied exactly what it's like in the core book. So the same for hail, except there's a difference between hail in Pokerole and hail in the core series games, because while it's hailing, ice types have higher defense, so or vitality. So now, status conditions. When your Pokemon is burnt, you inflict 1 HP damage at the end of each round, and its strength is decreased by 2. Now, the burn will last until for either 8 hours or until you can roll Dex plus Survival at the end of each round, or I mean at the end of each move. Sorry, at the end of each turn until the total successes equals 4. Sorry, this should be round. This should definitely be round, not turn, because that may mean that the burn goes away before it actually does any damage. So that doesn't work very well. So you roll Dex plus Survival at the end of each round, and once that once you add up all the successes and they equal 4, then you get rid of the burn. Now, for paralysis, it's the same thing. You roll Dex plus Survival at the end of each round, and you get -2 dexterity while it's active. And at the beginning of each turn, you have to roll a d4. If you roll a 1, you can't move when you roll the d4. This is not something that's there in the normal Pokerole, and neither is the strength penalty in normal Pokerole, because normal Pokerole actually has different tiers of burns, and I only ever plan to use the 1 tier for burning, which is burn 1. Burn 2 and burn 3 all inflict lethal damage, which I'm not actually doing. So the -2 strength is something that I'm doing because that's kind of what happens in the canon games. Now, for paralysis, this is how it works. For being frozen, I actually changed it slightly. You can't do anything while you're frozen, and you can actually try to break out of the ice. So the ice has health equal to how many of accuracy successes that the move that caused the ice that caused the freezing did. So for example, if it had 3 accuracy successes, that means that the ice has 3 health, and its vitality and inside is 2. So you can use moves from the inside to try and break out, and once you break out, you can carry on attacking. You can also leave the frozen Pokemon to thaw out on its own, but if it does, it'll faint when it does thaw. An opponent can help. I mean, an ally can help in to break the ice, but you might take extra damage if they do break you out. So it's a bit of a risky thing. Now poison, it's pretty basic. You inflict 1 HP at the end of each round, and badly poisoned, you inflict 2 HP at the end of each round. But it's actually different from normal Pokerole because badly poisoned used to inflict lethal damage, not normal damage. Now, when you fall asleep, it's the same as Pokerole. So the normal Pokerole rules: you roll Insight plus Alert at the end of each round until the successes add up to 5. When you flinch, you lose your turn. No way of stopping it. Confusion: 1 success removed from all rolls. If no successes are left, you take 1 HP damage. Um, or if the move doesn't hit, and it's active for 5 rounds or until you switched out. Now disabled, you prevent it from using an attack, and it lasts for 5 rounds or until you switched out. In love, so you roll you always hold back to half damage against all opponents, and you roll insight until 5 successes or until you switched out. Now these are the types of terrains. These 5 terrains, grassy, electric, misty, psychic, and dark, are all existing terrain conditions that Pokerole already have. I included primal terrain. So primal terrain is like a dragon type terrain boost. So all dragon type moves just get 2 extra damage rolls. As simple as that. Okay. Now, okay, no, there's no real need for a practice battle yet. I'll do it just now. So, catching Pokemon. So, first of all, what you have to do is you have to battle the Pokemon, obviously, and let's go to 68. Okay, so when you want to catch a Pokemon, you have to fight it first, and at any point in the battle, or you don't actually have to fight it, but I'm going to explain what happens when you fight it. So, you throw a Pokeball, okay? Now, the different types of Pokeball have different seal potency, and you need a certain number of successes in order to catch the Pokemon, and the successes depend on on what rank the Pokemon is. Okay, so say if it's a starter Pokemon, you need 3 successes. Okay, so you can actually throw your Pokeball at the beginning and hope for 3 successes, or you can actually fight the Pokemon, and once it gets to half HP, you get 1 success guaranteed. Once it's at 1 HP, you get another success guaranteed. Okay, and if it has a status ailment, you get another success guaranteed. Now, status ailments can actually stack in Pokerole, so you can end up being poisoned and paralyzed. You actually get 2 bonus successes for that. So that is how you can actually catch the higher ranked Pokemon. Okay, for other special Pokeballs, just ask your GM on what you're gonna on the seal potency, and for the GMs who might be watching this, if you want some advice on what kind of seal potency you'd like, just DM me. I can help you out. Okay. So some Pokemon may be shiny. I'll have some kind of secret rolls to check if a Pokemon is shiny. Some Pokemon may be different sized. If it's super sized, I'm going to increase the base HP by 1 and decrease dexterity by 1. If it's tiny, I'm going to increase dexterity by 1 and base HP by 1. I mean decrease base HP by 1. Okay? Now training. So training is actually how you improve your Pokemon. So this is how it works. First, you tell the GM, okay, this is what I want to do to train my Pokemon. So say I'm going to train with my Pidove and my Squirvet at the same time. Okay, and I also train. So that means that I am going to... So let's say when I train, I want to... Let's say we go for a run. Okay, so Pidove kind of flies with us, Squirvet runs with us, and that's what we do with our training. Okay, so now with that you increase your stamina. So that's what would normally happen, right? So you increase you would improve your dexterity, you would improve your athleticity. But yeah, that. Okay, so that's what would normally happen. So now the GM will tell you. So you're gonna say this is what I want to do to train, and the GM will tell you, okay, now what I want you to do is first I want you to um roll dexterity. Okay, so say the first, because the trainer was also running, the trainer is gonna roll for dexterity. So now your dexterity as a trainer is 1, right? That's my dexterity right now. So I'm gonna roll a d6. Now the d6 was successful, which means that I get 1 experience point for dexterity. Then for athletic, say because my value is 0, I will gain 1 experience point anyway. So now I gain 1 experience point, which increases my athletic value to 1. Okay. Now say the next day I go for another run. Okay. Now what happens is I roll another d6 because that's what my dexterity is equal to, and then say that was a fail. That means that I didn't gain any experience points from dexterity. But when I rolled athletic, the d6 for athletic, it was actually a success. So now I get a stat point there. Okay. Now what you need to level up these values is you have to get a number of experience points equals to whatever the value is times 2. So now I'm gonna have to keep training until I get 2 experience points in athletic, in which case I can level my value up to 2 and then I reset this to 0. Okay? Now the next time I go for a run, I roll 2d6 for athletic instead of d6. Alright? It's a little difficult to wrap your head around, but basically the GM will tell you will tell you what to roll, or he'll roll it himself, or herself, and then he'll tell you that, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what has gained experience points. Okay. Now you can only train once a day, and how many Pokemon you can focus on while training depends on your rank. So for Pokemon, how your Pokemon. So let's say with Pidove, it I ranked up my athletic. Okay, this athletic went up to 2, and its dexterity went up to it went up by 2, so the value increased by 1, and now it's back to 0. All right, that's something that happened during our training. Okay, so now its actual dexterity value has increased. So now, just to summarize, when you so now when you roll something, so now when you do some training, the GM will roll something for you. Okay, will roll whatever the stats that need to be rolled for you. Now, when you roll those, the number of successes you get is how much experience you add to the stat experience, or the social experience, or the skill experience, or whatever. Okay, there's different types of training. You can actually try to train your social attributes too. Say you're gonna try. Yeah, I don't know. You're gonna say your Pokemon starts dancing a little. Okay, so you train your Pokemon in terms of its dancing ability. So its beauty and its perform, and maybe athletic will also be rolled. Okay, so now when you roll those, you say, okay, so now you got this much experience in athletic, this much in beauty, this much in perform, and maybe this much in dexterity too. Who knows? Okay, so the GM will tell you what to roll. And once you reach the experience points equals to 2 times whatever your current stat value is, then you increase that stat by 1. Okay? And when you rank up, when you rank up, and you can, like, for this is only for trainers, because when Pokemon rank up, they don't actually get any stat points to distribute. The only way you can increase your Pokemon's stat points or skills or any of that is by training. But say if you're a trainer and you rank up, and you get points to distribute, and you can literally go and level up a value. And when you level up a value, you don't have to reset the experience points. The experience points stay exactly as they are. Okay, so this is a training method that I came up with because we won't be playing face to face where you can actually roll for something different. We'll be playing um, play with a play by post, so it's a bit easier to train in this manner. Okay, so this is completely homebrewn. If you don't understand, please just ask me. DM me, just ping me, whatever you need to. Just ask me. I'll do my best to explain better. Okay, it's really difficult to explain with just words, and I don't know my recording software well enough for me to be able to show you on like an actual app or something. Now, Pokemon have the same ranks as humans. Okay, when you rank, so it's not when you find a Pokemon in the wild, or you get a Pokemon, it will have a rank, and if its rank is higher than yours when you get it, it won't obey you at all. Okay, or maybe not at all, but it will actually have an obedience roll at the beginning of every turn. Okay, and if you fail the turn, it will disobey you. Now, now when your Pokemon has the same rank as you, it will still obey you. And a Pokemon can rank up once five of its attributes, socials, or skills have leveled up. So say with Pidove, with Pidove, say I've leveled up its dexterity by 1, its cool by 1, its brawl by 1, and its channel by 2. That means 5 of its stats have increased by 1, like the actual value, not the experience points. The actual value is increased by 1. That means that Pidove can now rank up. But if your Pokemon's already at your rank, it can't rank up higher because that means it'll stop obeying you. Okay. But when you rank up and your Pokemon had already gotten 5 level ups of their stats, they can also rank up with you. All right. Now, yeah, okay, wait. This was something of an older version. So your Pokemon doesn't necessarily rank up when it evolves, but when your Pokemon evolves. So now we're moving on to evolution. When your Pokemon evolves, you have to roll your high. The trainer has to roll their highest social stat, and if they get at least 2 successes, then nothing happens. But if they don't get the 2 successes, the Pokemon's loyalty will decrease by 1 because the Pokemon now is stronger. So you also need to be. It also needs to recognize you as strong enough to command it. Okay. Now the Pokemon evolve after a certain number of experience points, not victories. But the actual Pokerole, the 2.0 core book depends on victories, but I came up with an experience point mechanic. Okay, so after each battle, after each training session, I'll tell you how much experience points you gained, like actual experience points that you gained. Okay, and once your Pokemon reaches a certain milestone, it will have the option to evolve. So you can either evolve, or you can choose to reset these points to 0 and let your Pokemon learn and move from a higher rank. That's something I should have mentioned. So let's go down to page 300. Okay, there. So now, if you look at Rockruff's Pokedex entry here, then you can see these Pokeballs next to it, right? And I did mention that each rank has a different Pokeball associated with it. Now for Rockruff, at a starter rank, it can only learn the moves with a white Pokeball next to it. At beginner, it can only learn the moves with like a standard Pokeball. At an amateur rank, it can learn all the ones with a Great Ball next to it. At an ace rank, it can learn all the ones with a Ultra Ball next to it. And at a pro rank, it can learn all the moves with a Cherish Ball next to it. Okay. Now, the Now, when you level up your Pokemon to, so now when you gain all your experience points, you can choose to either evolve your Pokemon, or you can choose to let it learn a move from one rank higher than it is. Okay, and then it'll reset to zero. If it does evolve, you still reset to zero anyway. Now, what these points depend on is what your Pokemon is how fast your Pokemon levels up in like according to its its canon Pokedex stats. So for Pidove, I think it's a medium fast level up rate. You can actually just check on Bulbapedia or Pokemon Database or something. So that means it needs 60 points of experience before it can evolve. Okay. Now and yeah, this is another thing. Your Pokemon may change its nature upon evolving at the GM's or DM's discretion. And yeah, it doesn't necessarily rank up, but you don't have to worry about that. Now, Pokemon eggs. It's pretty basic. They don't actually mention eggs much in here at all. I don't think they do it like at all. Um, but if you get a Pokemon egg, it hatches after a certain number of in-game days. So, and the number of days is equal to 2 days for each 1,000 steps you need in the canon games. So, for example, for Axew, it's like over 10,000 steps for the canon game. So it'll take you about 3 weeks to hatch. Okay. So now let's go to the moves section. Okay. So there's a bunch of effect icons for the moves because this is how a move entry works in Pokédex in the Pokerole core book. Okay. So each so all the moves have effect icons and you need to be able to read them. Okay, yeah, I mean they do actually say what they mean as well, but it's easier to just recognize the symbols. Okay, so these symbols represent what type of move it is. Okay, now this is a chance dice. So a chance dice is like for example, this is for extra effects of a move. So say if you use Fire Punch, there's one chance dice that you burn the opponent, and a chance dice for it to succeed, it has to come up with a six. If you don't get a six on the chance dice, that means it doesn't succeed. Okay. Um, this is something that it this is for this is for another way of reading. So this is something that will always happen, something that never happens. Okay, this is something that they'll indicate for all the moves. Okay, now this is something with a reduced accuracy. So when something has reduced accuracy, you subtract that many successes. You don't subtract rolls, you subtract successes. Okay, and these are all the icons for targets. Um, this is your increase in reduced box. So this is when this is like to indicate increases and reductions in stats. Okay, and this is for modified damage. Okay, and these are all a bunch of other indicators. So this means that the Pokemon can't escape. This means that it's a charge move. This means that it's a fist move. This means it's these are all heal moves. This is a high critical symbol. This is the symbol for lethal damage. This is a symbol for recharge. This is a move that means it can never fail, but it can be clashed apparently. Then rampage, recoil. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of these. You can just go and look at the Pokerole code book for this. Now let's actually like try and read some of them. So look at defend order. Defend order, it only affects the user. That's what the symbol means, I think. It increases defense by one and increases special defense by one. Okay, and it tells you what the accuracy is, what the accuracy roll is. It tells you that there's no that the damage pool doesn't apply here because it doesn't actually do any damage. Okay, let's look at heal order. You need to use tough plus nature for it. It's a basic heal move, so it'll heal up to 3 HP. And yeah, normally heal moves actually require to use like some willpower, but apparently not for heal order. Okay, now let's see fling. Okay, so it only hits one opponent. Its power is 1, but it can add up to 4 depending on the item that's thrown. Okay, so yeah, I think this is It says look at page 432, so you can look at that, or you can ask your GM, and it may be at the GM's discretion. Okay, so you can find all the information you need just by looking at the moves index. Okay, um, now abilities. Starting from page 434, it has a list of every single ability. Okay, I actually didn't put in Pidov's ability effect. So Pidov has the Big Peck's ability. So let's see, Big Peck's is here. This Pokemon cannot have its defense reduced. This Pokemon cannot have its defense reduced. I should actually make, that reminds me that I should make these wrap. So view, no, is it format? Yeah, text wrap, wrap, there. Alright. Then Mega Evolution. So for Mega Evolution, the trainer needs to wear a keystone somewhere. You know, you can choose whatever cool place you want to wear it, or you know how you want to have your keystone on you. It lasts for the whole battle. The Pokemon has to hold a Mega Stone, and every time you Mega Evolve, it uses one will point of both the human and the Pokemon. Okay, and it may actually lose control at the GM's discretion. For Z moves or Z moves, your trainer must have Z crystal. The Pokemon, the Z ring, your Pokemon must be holding a Z crystal, and you can only use it once per day. It costs 5 will points, so it's really expensive, so use it very sparingly. And you add your happiness and loyalty to base power, which happiness and loyalty can go up to 5. So when you add 10 dice to a move that already has maybe 13 or 14 dice, you can end up with some ridiculously high base power for the base move, like a base dice pool. Okay, like it's so high. You can do so much damage. You can actually one shot a lot of Pokemon with Z moves. They are OP as hell in this. Okay, um, there's no if any added effects for your normal move are replaced by an added effect for Z move. If a Z move doesn't have an added effect, it won't be replaced. I mean, I know like some of the custom Z moves, like Clangorous, Soul Blaze, and all those, they might actually have some of their own effects. Then Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing. You know, it's the same as normal canon rules. So you need to be wearing a Dynamax band. I'll actually make the Z Crystal, the Dynamax band, and the Mega band all one if needs be. You know, just to simplify things. You must be in a power spot. When you Dynamaxed, your Pokemon will have 6 more HP. When you Gigantamax, your Pokemon will have 12 more HP. And it lasts 3 moves, unless your Pokemon have grown accustomed to it. This happens very rarely, and it might not happen in my campaign at all. Okay, and it's actually something that I came up with, but I kind of decided against in my campaign. But if you want to go for it, go for it. Okay, in order to Gigantamax, your Pokemon must have the Gmax factor, and that again, that's at the GM's discretion. And Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon are all immune to these effects. And now for max moves. So max moves, they add 2 points to the power of the base move, and 2 points to the accuracy. You can't clash with them, and you can't copy them with copycat, sketch, mimic, or transform. Okay, and the added effects of the base move are replaced with the max moves added effects. Now Gmax moves, I actually had to change the Gmax move mechanics in Pokerole because they are ridiculously OP. Like the actual base, if you look at the core book, like if I go down, let's see, I think maybe like let me just go back here. The big leagues 486. Max move. I think they have something for max move, which is 425. Yeah. So they have a whole plethora of effects, and it can get so OP because this is how it works. Okay, so an ace trainer can have four extra effects. Okay, that means they can pick four effects for each G max move, four effects for one move. That can actually get really nasty really fast. So that I decided to just do away with that, and I'm gonna just have the extra effects based on what they are in the actual games themselves. Okay, and you can customize them, but at my discretion. If you want to do it in a certain way, just come and speak to me. And for the same of you who are players out there, you can just go and speak to your GM. Okay, this is kind of how my mechanics work. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. My Discord tag is no one. Just a sec. It is no one 8144 hash 8144. Oh, wait, sorry, 1844. Sorry, there. You can send me a friend request, and it's likely I won't accept. I don't like accepting friend requests from strangers. So rather just join the Discord server for Pokerole. You can find it on their site, and then you can search me up and message me. I have uh, messages on for people who I share servers with. So just feel free. It's yeah, it's all good. Okay. Sorry if I wasn't very clear about the training part. I think that's the only part I was kind of shaky in. But I hope you understood. If you didn't, seriously, just message me. It's fine. All right. See you guys.